Bardet-Biedl Syndrome UK. Registered charity number 1027384 and SCO 41839. The following recording includes extracts from the BBS UK Medical Information Booklet and includes a basic outline and brief history of the syndrome, together with information about the BBS specialist clinics and Bardet-Biedl Syndrome UK. Information about the feature of BBS and information about genetics, diagnosis and family planning can be found on the BBS UK YouTube channel and on the BBS UK website. What is Bardet-Biedl Syndrome? Bardet-Biedl syndrome is a rare, recessively inherited ciliopathy. See later section explaining the term ciliopathy, which affects approximately 1 in 100,000 babies born. Features of the syndrome include rod-cone dystrophy, a progressive eye disorder that leads to blindness, characterized by tunnel vision and night blindness, obesity, renal abnormalities, developmental delay, speech and language difficulties, extra fingers and/or toes, and learning difficulties. Not all of the features are always present in those diagnosed as having BBS, and each one can vary in severity and appearance. The variability in presentation and severity of the syndrome, together with the rarity of the condition, can lead to delayed diagnosis and a lack of adequate local health care. The origins of Bardet-Biedl syndrome. The earliest formal description of Bardet-Biedl syndrome was provided in a paper published by John Zachariah Lawrence, 1829 to 1870. An eminent 19th century ophthalmic surgeon based in London, and his then house surgeon Robert Moon, 1845 to 1914, whose own father, William, invented one of the first raised alphabets for the blind. There was no further mention of the syndrome until 1920, when Georges Bardet submitted his MD thesis on hypothalamic obesity. Bardet had worked with Louis Pasteur in Paris and recognized that a number of his cases had unusual features, in particular hexadactyly, retinitis pigmentosa, and obesity. In 1922, Artur Biedl, a Hungarian working as a professor of pathology and endocrinology in Austria, published a short independent account of two siblings with congenital abnormalities, retinitis pigmentosa and polydactyly. Neither Bardet nor Biedl made any reference to Lawrence and Moon's paper previously published in Ophthalmic Review, a publication which by then was no longer in circulation. It was in 1925 when Solis Cohen and Weiss rediscovered the paper by Lawrence and Moon and went on to consider these conditions to be the same. Until the 1980s, the syndrome was known as LMBS, Lawrence-Moon-Biedl syndrome, with no reference to Bardet. More recently, this condition has been split once again on the basis of clinical features into the Lawrence-Moon and Bardet-Biedl syndromes. Bardet-Biedl syndrome, BBS, has the main features rod-cone dystrophy, obesity, postaxial polydactyly, learning disabilities, and hypogenitalism, males. BBS represents by far the majority of published cases and is now the more generally recognized term within the medical and scientific community. BBS Specialist Clinics. Bardet-Biedl Syndrome UK, BBS UK, together with Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital, Guy's Hospital, London, Birmingham Children's Hospital and Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Birmingham, have been commissioned by NHS England to provide multidisciplinary clinics for Bardet-Biedl syndrome patients. At each clinic, patients are seen by an ophthalmologist, nephrologist, dietitian, clinical psychologist, geneticist, speech and language therapist, and endocrinologist. The aim is to provide a one-stop annual visit to ensure patients receive specialised and expert attention and management, and should bring about a major change in how BBS is managed, with a focus on diagnosis, early intervention, and good health management. BBS UK is an integral member of this valued multidisciplinary team, MDT, and provides information and support to the patients and their families, carers, before, during, and after clinics. Its involvement pre-clinic ensures that patients, their families and carers are well informed about the syndrome and feel well supported to attend. BBS UK representatives attend each clinic, offering emotional and practical support to patients and their families, and ensure that they are aware of all relevant benefits and social support services. Post-clinic, they provide ongoing support and liaise between patient and hospital where required, and generally provide an ongoing point of contact. It is recommended that all patients with a suspected diagnosis of BBS should be referred to one of these centres. Such referrals should be addressed to Professor Phil Beals, Consultant Clinical Geneticist, Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital, Great Ormond Street, London, WC1N3JH. To speak to a member of the BBS UK Adult Clinic Support Team, call Julie Sales on 01892 685 311. To speak to a member of the BBS UK Children's Clinic Support Team, call Tonia Heimers on 07805 685342. For further information, go to www.bbsuk.org.uk. Bardet-Biedl Syndrome UK. Bardet-Biedl Syndrome UK, formerly Lawrence Moon Bardet-Biedl Society, is a voluntarily run charity aimed at protecting the health and promoting the welfare of persons affected by BBS, their families and carers. The charity also aims to advance the education of the medical and educational professions and the general public on the subject of BBS and its implications for the family. BBS UK produces twice-yearly newsletters and an annual conference report, which records the highlight of the year, the annual weekend family conference, which brings interested professionals and those with BBS, their families and carers, together for a formal conference programme and social weekend. The charity maintains a website and Facebook page, and through these have developed a community which self-supports, with members helping each other through the challenges often faced. A general helpline, a new families contact, an adults contact and special educational needs contact are all available. Details can be found at www.bbsuk.org.uk. Parent. I got in touch with two wonderful people from the BBS charity. They were a huge source of support to me and put me in contact with even more families. Sometimes I think the hardest thing for people is thinking that you are alone, and that is where the charity comes into its own. Conference Delegate. The whole conference weekend has been very instructive, and we have gained a lot of knowledge relating to the condition. Thank you for a wonderful weekend. It has been brilliant. This information is meant as a guide only. If you feel concerned about anything you have heard, please seek medical advice from your GP, consultant, or a member of the BBS Clinics team. We welcome your comments and feedback. Please send to info@bbsuk.org.uk or tonia.heimers@bbsuk.org.uk.